Hi, this is Richard Blade, and you're listening to the Blue Zone Podcast Network as it presents Permanent Record, an in-depth look at the classic albums of the 70s and 80s, albums which have earned a permanent place of honor, both in our hearts and in our record collections.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back once again to the Permanent Record Podcast. I'm Sarah.
My name over here is Brian.
What is it when you're over there?
Ryan.
Well, it's really good to have you back with me here, co-host of mine, and I'm glad to be recording another episode pretty soon after the last one.
That's right. We released the first part of our Now That's What I Call Music retrospective, let's call it.
Yeah.
Did that with our friend Jackie Clary. Jackie was not available this weekend, but we didn't want to let a beautiful summer weekend go to waste, so we stayed inside and worked on some notes for a quick one-off episode of some interesting music we recently discovered.
That's right. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I'm glad you decided you wanted to talk about some of these songs because even though they are relatively new to our music catalog, they've been around a long time and they definitely fit right in with the type of music we enjoy.
Yeah, very true. So it was a real treat to learn about some new bands in a genre that we do both enjoy so much.
That's right.
It's always special to find some good stuff that we may have missed the first time around.
So yeah, this is a box set, and I guess you're the one that first found out about it. It's called Electrical Language, Independent British Synth Pop from 78 to 84. So how did you learn about this?
Well, I first read about this a few months ago. You know, when I say a few months ago, it could be like any amount of time really, but I think it was less than a year ago, and it was in the pages of Classic Pop magazine. They reviewed it under the reissues section.
Oh, nice.
And it sounded really good. Mm-hmm. So I decided I was going to get it. But it was also that uncomfortable period that we've talked about on the podcast before, where I was paying for Spotify, and I felt like I had to get my money's worth from Spotify. I couldn't buy things anymore. But actually, I don't think it was on Spotify. So anyway, I didn't hear it, and then it sort of escaped my memory, and I didn't think about it for a while.
You may have told me about the box set when you read about it in Classic Pop, but I don't remember. What I do remember is just last month, we were planning to listen to a radio show called Land of the Lost, and it's on WXPN, and it's also broadcast on WXPN.org. So the DJ for that show, Robert Drake, said he was going to be featuring some songs from this box set during his show, and we were like, oh, wow, and that's when you remembered it.
That's right. I had forgotten about it till then, and he played some songs, and we really enjoyed them.
Yeah, it was really fun. A whole hour kind of dedicated to different songs on this 4-disc set. So we got to be familiar with it before we even bought it, and that's what prompted you to buy it, in fact.
Land of the Lost, we'd recommend that to anyone who enjoys this show. It's the last Friday of every month from 7 to 11 Eastern Time. So you'd have to translate it to whatever your time zone is if you're not here in the Eastern time zone with us. But it's 4 hours of great 80s alternative music.
Yeah, it is. It's a really neat mix. You know, sometimes there's stuff that we don't know that we learn about that we really like. And then, of course, lots of old favorites. You know, last month, which is, just a couple of days ago now, they did a whole hour where they featured Depeche Mode songs. And that was just wonderful.
Yep, that was cool. So we just missed the last episode by 2 days. So the next episode will be coming around the last Friday in August.
Right.
But anyway, that show prompted me to order the CD, and we got to hear all 80 tracks on the box set. It's pretty cool because when you get a set with 80 songs of groups, the majority of which you've never heard of, you don't really expect maybe that the majority of the songs are going to be great.
Yeah, you kind of go in with low expectations because that's a lot of stuff.
All right. But oddly enough, on like 3 of the 4 discs, there are only 2 or 3 songs that I didn't like.
Yeah, I would agree.
So it is a really good collection of music. The disc 3 is the one where it's still more than half of the songs on disc 3 are good, but there were just a higher number of
ones that we didn't like as much. Yeah.
So I just wanted to read something from the intro to the box set because it's 4 CDs and a little book. Tells you about each of the groups.
Yeah, the packaging is really kind of cool on this. It is like a book, and the CDs are kind of in the inside covers of the book, and then there's all kinds of information about the artists and the songs.
That's right. So I just want to read from the introduction to kind of get us into the meat of the episode, Sarah. They ask the question, what exactly is synth pop? And then they go on to give you some answers of what type of group or musician made up synth pop. And they said, it's from the punks and the polished would-be hit paraders who got a hold of a shiny new affordable piece of electronic equipment that let them do this, to the guitar groups chancing their arm with a newly recruited synthesizer player, and formerly progressive rockers who already knew their way around keyboards, And then even at the other end of the spectrum, the more cerebral inclined, who were non-stars, but they were futurists, inspired by the smart suits and low-key presence of Kraftwerk and the forward-thinking sounds of the German groups. So all had something to offer, and the synthesizer set free something in every one of them. So it's all these different individuals and pools of talent that synth pop stems from. There's punks that were sort of disillusioned with punk. The rock bands that wanted to do something that was more of a novelty. The brainy guys who just wanted to kind of show off how smart they are. And I think we're going to, here in this episode, pull from each of those groups. I'm going to talk about a song from a punk area.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about a song from the brainy area. And I think you're going to cover the would-be pop stars.
Yes.
The ones who had their sights set on the hit parade and maybe just fell a little short.
I agree.
So we're going to try to get a good mix of music in here.
Okay, so the thing about this box set is there's a lot of songs on here from groups that maybe most people have never even heard of, and they didn't have a very long presence in the music world, at least as these particular groups.
That's right. And when you look through it, you do see a couple names that you know. There's Thomas Dolby, The Normal, OMD, The Human League, Fad Gadget. But just a quick look through these. I think those were basically the bands that we knew. Blue Zoo. I knew Blue Zoo just because I heard Phil Oakey talk about them in 1986. But that's probably about it for me.
So we got, we were saying we got introduced to a lot of groups here on this box set. Two of my favorite songs are groups that basically didn't make a dent in the music scene at all. And there's very, very little information about them, but they have some similarities between them that made it seem like I could just talk about both of them at the same time.
Okay.
So my first two songs are Quadrascope, that's the group, and the song is Baby Won't Phone. And the second song is the group Jupiter Red, and the song is The Secret Affair.
The harder we try to settle our difference, I'm scared I'll be shot down. Will I hear your voice again? Oh, help me, I'm falling. My heart goes within the secret affair.
Hey, those sound pretty good.
Yeah, they're just right in our wheelhouse. I picked both of these songs, of course, because I love them both. They're just amazing, wonderful songs. And like I said, they have a lot of similarities, one of which is that there's really very little known about each of these bands. It's unfortunate. We're used to doing a lot of good research and deep dives for our podcast, but man, this episode, it was a challenge. Even the people that wrote the liner notes for this, they had done research, they'd done their work, but they hardly found anything on either of these groups. So here's what I know about them based on what I've read. Both of these songs were released pretty much back to back sometime in 1983 on the Arrival Records label. Quadrascope's single is Arrival catalog number PIK11, and Jupiter Red's single is Arrival catalog number PIK12. So they were like boom, boom. So Arrival Records is a label started by a guy named David Blaylock. And David Blaylock was the road manager for the band The Zombies. And then he went on to manage...
Wait, the Zombies that were just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then he went on to manage and produce a 70s glam rock band called Hello. One of the members of that band was Keith Marshall. He was the guitarist in Hello. The band eventually broke up, but Keith Marshall went out on his own as a solo artist, and he ended up becoming the main artist on Blaylock's Arrival Records label. And his biggest hit was the 1981 release, Only Crying, and it got to number 12 on the UK chart. I didn't know it. I went and listened to it, but it wasn't something I knew. I don't know if it was released in the United States. Keith went on not only to be an artist, but he was a producer. He produced a lot of songs for the other artists on this label, including Quadrascope and Jupiter Red. And another person these bands have in common, besides Keith Marshall, is a guy named John Payne. John Payne was a bass player in a band called Moonstone in the late 70s, but then that wasn't working out too well, so he started to work as a session musician, and he released a few of his own records in the 1980s. The liner notes for this box set credit him on both of these records, but I'm not exactly sure in what capacity he contributed. It might have been the bass guitar, I'm not really sure. He actually provided backing vocals on a couple of Roger Daltrey songs in the 80s. And then AllMusic says he worked with Erasure, but I couldn't find any evidence of that. So he could have been uncredited, I guess, if he was a session musician, but I didn't see anything that said exactly if he did anything or not.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but he is now best known for being the lead singer and bass player for the band Asia, and he's been in that role
No
since...
way.
Yeah,
Huh.
he's done that since 1991. And interestingly, in 2007, they actually started calling the band Asia featuring John Payne.
I wonder if there was some sort of legal argument with the old lead singer that like maybe he got the rights to call himself Asia.
Oh,
And
maybe.
they have to be Asia with John Payne or something.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, so he's another common thread between these two groups.
Now I want to hear Heat of the Moment.
Well, he didn't originally sing that, but I guess he's doing it now.
Yep.
So finally, one other common credit between Baby Won't Phone and The Secret Affair is that they were both written by the same person, Willie Logan. Now, I couldn't find out a lot about him. In the 90s, he played acoustic and electric guitar in a Scottish folk band called New Celeste. And then when I looked on AllMusic, I saw something that really caught my eye.
What's that?
He was credited along with John Flansbaugh and John Linnell for writing Fingertips. Fingertips.
They might be giants.
Yeah, Fingertips are the little song snippets from the 1992 They Might Be Giants album, Apollo 18. And
I
they
heard a sound. I turned around. I turned around to find the thing that made the sound.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, did he really work on that? And because I love that album, I love those songs. Fingertips are really fun. It's the perfect album to put on shuffle.
Right, that's what it was designed for.
Right.
It was designed to be shuffled because it had like, what was it, like 10 or 12?
21.
21 mini songs. That's
Yeah,
so cool. I thought
yeah.
that was so clever.
Well, I was like, oh my gosh, he worked on that with them? No.
What?
No, it turns out he had his own song called Fingertips on his 2002 album called Tunes for Guitar Slingers. Just goes to show you that you cannot trust all music all of the time.
That's sad.
Yeah, but it made me remember that album of They Might
Yeah.
Be Giants, and I was like, oh, that's so great.
Now I have Come On and Crash My Car stuck in my head.
I know. Good stuff. So that's really all I know about the people who were definitely involved with both these groups, with Quadrascope and Jupiter Red. I think that both these bands share a lead singer as well, but I can't confirm that. I just think that the guy sounds the same on both of these songs. Mm-hmm. And it's not John Payne because his voice is much, much different. This guy's voice on these songs actually reminds me a little of Lamal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, I can hear that.
I had that thought, and of course, we've just been talking about Lamal, so he's on my mind.
Same here, man.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about that video.
I know. I watched it again this morning just to get refamiliarized with his voice. And of course, the video is just so great. But I really do love the vocals on both these songs. The person, whoever it is quite a good vocalist. And there's some really good harmonies on both these songs.
Definitely.
I will say that we both agree really good vocals on this box set are kind of a rarity, or not as much as commonality as you might hope.
I think that it probably averages out to mid-range. There's a few really good ones and a few really bad ones.
Yeah.
And then most vocals on here are acceptable.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But another thing that these songs have in common, because they were from the same record label and the same producer, they were very well produced. And I think that's another, they kind of stand out a little more than some of these other songs that were basically made in someone's bedroom.
Yeah, they do have a really good polished sound to them.
Yeah, so I'm going to share a few of my thoughts on the actual individual songs now.
All right.
Starting with Baby Won't Phone. I got to tell you, this song sounds like they wrote this song after listening to everything that Vince Clarke had done so far.
Definitely.
It's like, as soon as you hear that opening riff, if you know anything about Vince Clarke, you have to say, wow, this sounds like a Vince song.
What year did this come out?
83.
83. So they
Yeah.
had probably heard the two Yaz albums.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And Speak and Spell. Yeah, so the only thing that prevents it from being a complete clone of a Vince Clarke song is the inclusion of a guitar solo in the middle eight.
At the 1 minute 27 second mark.
Very nice.
And it's fine. It sounds good. It might be maybe just a touch too loud for me.
Okay.
In the mix. And I like it. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I just sort of wish that they had just come up with a different keyboard sound to play that part. And just
Okay.
make it all synths on this.
Okay. Yeah, it's really a surprise when you come to it because you're just going along with the synth sounds and you think, oh, this is like a Vince Clarke song.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, here's this guitar. I think it works all right.
Yeah, it does.
It has guitar has a good sound to it. It's not heavy guitar. It's that kind of lighter, sweet sounding guitar. The song itself is just so peppy and bright and bouncy, and it just fills you with joy. Every time I hear it, I just get so happy and want it to dance around. It's just a wonderful 3-minute pop song.
Yep, very much like the fun side of Yaz, Good Times.
Right.
Or, one of those kind of tracks, the upbeat, happy ones.
Yeah. So I'm just, I think it's a wonderful little song, and I'm really glad to have discovered it.
Yeah, I think that this song alone is probably worth like half the price of the box set.
I know. So then The Secret Affair is a little different, you know, kind of in a different vein. It's much more mid-tempo. It definitely has a lot more guitar in it, but it's that smooth guitar. Trying to think of other bands that have a guitar sound like theirs.
It is so smooth that I'm surprised that one of the like sophistopop bands didn't remake this in the late 80s or something.
Yes.
Because it has such a feel that like Johnny Hates Jazz could have produced like an even smoother version of this and taken it to the top of the charts.
You're exactly
it's a really
right.
good song.
Yeah, this just has a really great sound to it. And I really like the chords that they use in this song and the chord changes. They just kind of tinge the song with a bit of melancholy and it just gives it some more texture. Just a little more interest than a typical pop song.
It does have a very good, that's a good word, very good texture to it. It starts off really weird. Like the first couple seconds of it seem almost, to me, sound like they are combining Exciter era Depeche Mode with Blue Monday.
Okay.
Because there's that the fast Blue Monday beat in there.
It has a kind of a deceptive opening to it, I would say.
Very much so.
The first few seconds do not prepare you for what you're going to hear and then the rest of the song.
But I think this is probably the most polished and the most radio-friendly song on the entire 4-disc set.
I think I would agree. Both of the songs are just hook heavy and they have some really memorable sections. I keep finding myself humming both of them. They're just really, really good songs. And I think that they both could have done well on the charts if they had more exposure and promotion. And that just kind of makes me sad for what could have been. I'm thankful that they exist. I'm so glad that they've come into our lives. But I'm like, oh, these could have been on the charts. You could have, you know, I don't know who these people are. I would have loved to see them on a Top of the Pops archive footage now. You know?
Right.
Yeah, so that's my first two songs.
I wouldn't mind living in a world ruled by quadraphone.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, well, those are both very good songs. I'm going to go with, I guess for my first song, I'm going to go with my song that comes from the staging ground of punk.
Ooh.
And I'm going to start with a song by a band called Naked Lunch.
Oh.
And it is called Rabies.
I was bitten by a dog, like you expected. It's just my girl and me, we're disconnected. Phone me after mouth, 'cause I'm up here in the north and my baby's way down south.
All right, so Naked Lunch was formed in 1979 by a man named Tony Mayo and Mick Clark. Over the years, they would invite other musicians to join, and there are many, many lineups of Naked Lunch. They were active between 79 and 97, and then again from 2010 to now.
Wow.
So they're still alive and kicking.
Oh, very cool.
I was on their Bandcamp page yesterday listening to some of their newer tracks.
Nice.
Tony was part of the punk scene in the mid to late 70s, but he kind of grew tired of it. And he started listening to Kraftwerk and Tangerine Dream. He wanted to do something new like that. So he formed Naked Lunch and became part of the futurist movement, although he didn't really like that label himself. He said that was something that journalists just came up with, futurists, and he said, we're simply an electronic band. Now, Tony was friends with Steve O'Pierce. If you're a fan of this great new wave of synth music, you probably know him. He would go on to form the Some Bizarre record label.
Oh, no way.
And his claim to fame is that he released that Some Bizarre album, which featured great unsigned bands like Soft Cell, The Naked Lunch, and...
a little group named Depeche Mode, right?
That's right. The original version of Photographic appeared on there.
Awesome.
And Tony was, he was friends with him, and he helped Steve-O negotiate with the bands who appeared on the album. And he was a part of that whole scene. Naked Lunch was around in the stories of many bands I found. Naked Lunch mentioned in Simon Spence's Just Can't Get Enough, the making of Depeche Mode.
Okay.
They talk about Naked Lunch being on different bills with Depeche Mode. They also talk about that drummer Mark Irving grew up in Basildon.
Nice.
And knew Dave when Dave was, quote, a beer boy before he became weird.
A beer boy? I don't even know what that means.
I guess he just liked to drink beer.
Oh,
he liked to
okay.
party and drink beer. I don't know.
All right.
Spence also says that Irving played in a group called the Vickers with Alison Moyet.
Oh, no way.
And then the last bit of Depeche Mode tie-in that I found was that Naked Lunch was on the bill for the very last show that Vince played with Depeche.
Oh, no way.
He was there
Wow.
and opened for them on that final show.
Huh. Wow, lots of really cool tie-ins with this group.
So in a very 80s independent way, Naked Lunch never released a full album, at least up until 2014.
Oh, wow.
All of their releases in the 80s were singles, which at this point they've been collected onto CDs. Like I said, they have a Bandcamp page. They're still together. It's a different lineup than they were back in the 80s, but they just released a single called Razor's Kiss in 2019. I listened to it yesterday. It's very dark, but I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. You can tell right away it's like a very atmospheric, dark track. And when the vocals start, it's like, you know how I get scared by a lot of scary songs?
Yes.
It has like the deep kind of goth vocal. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this. But I powered through it. And then it was kind of a catchy tune, even though it was darker than this song that I'm playing
interesting.
here for you today. The other thing I noticed is that their current logo for Naked Lunch, the way they write the name of their band, it looks very much like a Scandinavian prog rock band, the font that they use.
Oh, my gosh.
It doesn't look like it would be this genre.
Okay.
So that's the band. The song is called Rabies.
Yeah.
It was released as a single in 1981 after the band parted ways with Steve O'Pierce and signed with a new manager. And John Peel liked the song, famous radio DJ. John Peel, he liked it. He played the song in his nighttime show on the BBC.
Okay.
Although the song was banned from daytime play
Oh, no.
due to the title, I guess.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not sure.
It's not like they're promoting rabies. Like, hey, everyone, go get rabies. Wow.
The single was backed with a song called Slipping Away, which I listened to online. And that's a really good song, too.
Oh, cool.
All these 80s singles sound pretty good to me. There's like a 7-song EP that collects the singles from the early 80s, and I like most of those songs. I liked them because I feel that the vocal melodies are quite pop. The lyrics of the songs, unfortunately, just kind of work against the songs sometimes. The first one that I thought they sort of shot themselves in the foot with is a song called You Tie Me Down from 1984. The first line of the song is, you tie me down, your whips and your chains. And I was like, well, you can't write a lyric like that and expect that it's going to be embraced and be a top 40 hit.
Right.
But then I was like, well, wait a second. In 1985, Depeche Mode's going to record Master and Servant. And I was like, that's basically the same thing. And that made top 40. But I don't know. It just seemed like, too on the nose.
Right.
This song, I love this song. I think it's awesome.
What, rabies?
Yeah, Rabies.
Yeah.
The music is great. And I love his voice. I think he's a really good singer. But then there are some lyrics in here that when you're even if you love the song, when you hear it, you kind of laugh. Like he says, "You see, my problem is I've got Z rabies," and I swear he says Z.
I think you're right. I do. I think he all of a sudden develops like a German accent or something. I don't know.
I've got Z rabies. And then like there's a really catchy part leading up to the chorus. Oh,
yeah.
And then he's like, I'm foaming at the mouth.
I know. Yeah, he's got an interesting... He goes, I think, more between spoken word and singing. There's some parts in here that are very much more like spoken word. Then there's definitely singing. Yeah, he's not a bad singer. It's definitely a very interesting style.
Yeah. I love this song. And in the mid-2010s, when they got back together, they re-recorded some of their old songs. And this is one that they re-recorded. And that new version led to one of the best things I've ever heard. I'm going to throw it on the end of the episode here.
Oh, boy.
It's a Sig Sputnik electronic mix
Oh, man.
of Rabies. Putting Naked Lunch, who I think sounds awesome, together with one of my favorite bands of the 80s, Sig Sputnik. That's a match made in heaven.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. Sig Sputnik. Oh, boy.
So why did I pick Rabies out of the 80 songs on the set? Why did I pick this one? I love the music. I absolutely love it. There is something about those really old monophonic synths. I just adore the sound of those. The bass line of this one is what drew me in at first, but I ended up loving all the parts of the song. Just has a great sound to it. He's a great singer. Very catchy pop melody. Like I said, it's synth sounds that are not top 40 synth sounds.
Yeah.
But the melody, his vocal melody it just has great pop sensibilities to it. I love how during the that part I mentioned, I'm foaming at the mouth. That's a very friendly sounding part that gets stuck in your head, and you kind of sing that to yourself.
I agree.
You mentioned that your guys were really good singers, and you can't say that about everybody on the compilation. That's true here of Tony as well. He is a very good singer, one of the better ones on the compilation. Lyrically, I was spending some time listening to this. I've just been enjoying it around the house.
Yeah.
As, we're working from home, and I'll put on music. And it wasn't until yesterday when I sat down and was taking notes on it, trying to find things, and I was just listening to it over and over in my head. I realized it's not actually about rabies.
Oh, it's like code for something else?
Yeah. He doesn't really have rabies.
Okay.
He's just snaking around on his girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
It's a metaphor for cheating on your girlfriend. He says, I wasn't bitten by a dog like you expected. It's just my girl and me. we're disconnected. And then I'm up here in the north and my baby is way down south.
Okay.
So it's just he and his girlfriend are disconnected. Maybe they're not getting along well to begin with. I don't know, but they're not together. And so he's on the prowl. And so that's what Rabies is really about.
He's a wild dog on the prowl.
He is, yep. So what'd you think about Rabies?
Oh, well, I don't want to get rabies, but I wouldn't mind getting this song in my head because it's a good song. It is. It's a little, on the quirky side, almost like a novelty hit. The title of it, and I'm foaming at the mouth. You cannot take that seriously, really. But it is a good song. I do love the old school synths, definitely a different sound from the ones I just talked about, but it's got more of that, early Human League or, that kind of sound to which I know you love. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. It's a good song.
Glad you like it. So my recommendation to you is if you like Nine Inch Nails or maybe the more recent heavy sound of Gary Newman, check out some of Naked Lunch's more recent tunes on Bandcamp.
Oh, interesting.
And if you like the sound of this song, or like you said, the sound of maybe the early Human League is what I would kind of compare this to, check out one of their compilations of their 80s singles. I definitely think Naked Lunch is a group that's worth checking out.
Well, it's really cool that they are still around, that you can do that, and that there is some stuff available, unlike some of these other groups. That's a
Very cool.
Nice bonus.
So before we get into our second batch of songs, Sarah, we were lucky enough to get a few recent reviews on iTunes. So why don't we share those and thank the people who took the time to write them for us?
Okay.
Our first one is from the British iTunes site, and it is from Neil Greggs, who says, Sarah, he says, we have a great podcast.
Oh, hey, that's awesome.
Which I was happy to see. Thanks, Neil. And he gave us 5 stars. So he is a recent friend of the show. He said he found this after the Violator discussions.
Oh, very cool.
Just recently.
Oh, good.
And he says, I love it. Can you please work through some more Depeche Mode albums? Thanks for a great listen. Neil from the UK.
Yay.
So, Neil, we appreciate you stumbling upon the show, actually checking it out, and taking the time to send us that. We definitely will talk about some more Depeche Mode.
Oh, for sure.
Violator was our DM for the year. We usually try to talk about the key bands like Pet Shop Boys, Erasure, Depeche Mode once a year.
Right.
And so...
and we spent a lot of time on Depeche Mode this year, so we got to give some other bands some love this year, the rest of the year.
But there definitely is more Depeche Mode on the way. We're, as we've said a couple times over the course of the show, our goal is to actually talk about every single Depeche Mode song.
Yes.
So that's why we did episodes like, I think our 50th episode was some great B-sides or something like that, where we talked about some of the Depeche Mode songs that wouldn't be covered when we talk about albums.
Indeed.
So yeah, we're fans too, and we appreciate you and the kind words. Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it looks like we have another review from the UK Apple Podcast, and it's from Cywo28, and the title is A Must for 80s Music Fans. Somehow utterly comprehensive and detailed, but neither exclusive nor impenetrable, with hosts Brian and Sarah adding lovely personal stories in their retrospective look at key 80s albums. With a very British bias, if you're into Depeche Mode, Erasure, or Tears for Fears, to name but a few, this is a delightful and thorough companion. Well, thank you so much for that lovely 5-star review.
That was fantastic. We really appreciate those kind words. And the way that was written, when I first read it, I thought it was going to have been a review from Andrew Donnelly. It just seemed like the way he would phrase his sentences and things.
Yeah, but thank you again so much for the very nice review. We always appreciate hearing from you guys and you taking the time to write a little something about our show. And with that, I guess we're ready to get into our next selections off this 80s song compilation.
So what do you have lined up for your second choice, Sarah?
All right, well, my second choice is just a single song instead of me trying to cram 2 in there. And it is from the first disc. It is a song by the group called Box of Toys, and the song is called I'm Thinking of You Now.
Walk along unbroken sand, the inspiration brings. I'm thinking of you now. Blazing sunset touch the horizon. Distant is the flame. I'm thinking of you now.
Okay, so that song was released as a 7-inch single in August 1983 on Inevitable Records. And the band Box of Toys was a Liverpool band formed in 1982 after the breakup of another band called A Select Committee. A guy named Andy Redhead and Phil Martin, they had been in A Select Committee.
That's a cool name for a band.
Yeah.
I like that name.
I do too. Yeah, they should have kept the name. Well, the two of them got together with a guy named Brian Atherton and another one named Roy Campbell, and they formed Box of Toys. And in Box of Toys, Andy Redhead played drums and guitar. Phil Martin played sax and keyboards and supplied some vocals. Brian Atherton was the lead vocalist, and he also played some keyboards. And Roy Campbell played bass and provided vocals as well. In April of 1983, the band got to record a session with John Peel. This was before they'd even released a single. I found a New Wave music forum which listed the songs that they played in that session, and they were When Daylight Is Over, Precious Is the Pearl, I'm Thinking of You Now, and Time Takes Me Back. So I'm Thinking of You Now was the first single that the band released, and it came out, like I said, in August. The B-side was Old Man Rome, which was not recorded in the Peel session. I heard it on YouTube, though. Somebody has both songs. That's pretty good. The band only had one other single, and that was Precious Is the Pearl, and it was released in March of 1984 as a 7-inch and a 12-inch. The 7-inch was backed with It Goes Without Saying, and the 12-inch was backed with When Daylight Is Over, in addition to It Goes Without Saying.
Did you listen to that song, Precious Is the Pearl?
I did not, and I should have. I saw some comments like people remembered that song and they thought it was pretty good, so I should probably check it out.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Yeah, I do like this one. So unfortunately, Box of Toys broke up in 1984. The lead singer, Brian Atherton, went on to form a group of one, basically, called The Light. Not Peter Hook and the Light.
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking.
Maybe that's why Peter Hook calls himself Peter Hook and the Light. I don't know. But Brian Atherton took I'm Thinking of You Now with him since he was the one who wrote the song. And he recorded a new version of it, which was included as a B-side on the 12-inch version of his single Contrasting Strangers. And that was released in 1985. And The Light only released one other single. See his trend here? It's like 2 singles and you're done. The second single was called Pride of Winning in 1986. And that was all I could find on him. No other music history. He's not even in All Music where I could find bad information.
I guess new information is better than wrong information.
Yeah, I would say in this case, yeah.
This song is really good, and I actually tried to resist falling under its spell at first, because when it started, I sensed that we were about to hear some like Joy Division / She Wants Revenge style vocals.
Okay.
And I don't like that kind of vocal.
No.
And it was just something about the music. I was like, oh, that's what we're about to hear.
Uh-huh.
In truth, these are really good vocals.
Right.
I like them a lot. The band, the sound of the band, it reminds me of somebody that we already know, and I can't figure out who it is that they remind me of. I've been thinking about it all day. Kind of like a lower tier group that still has some really good songs. I just can't figure it out. I was thinking maybe it was Wolfsheim.
Oh, maybe.
But I'm not 100% sure that's who I was thinking of. This is a really good song.
Yeah, it's obviously one of my favorites on the whole box set. And it just has fantastic synths, wonderful programmed drums. But I got to tell you, the element that makes this song stand out for me is the oboe.
I didn't know there was an oboe.
Yeah, there's a lot of oboe in here. And in fact, there are some oboe solos kind of in these breaks. And I'm just not used to hearing oboe in a fast synth pop dance song. I expect to hear it in mellow songs like songs the Dream Academy does. I think of oboe in an 80s song. I think of the Dream Academy.
I can see that.
Yeah. It's not surprising to hear organic instruments like guitars or even horns in these kinds of songs, but oboe is just kind of one throws you for a loop. Like I said, there's actually little oboe solos in here. It's kind of cool. There are 2 people that are credited with the oboe on the back of this single. Phil Martin, who, as I said, is a regular member of the band. He also plays sax. He also gets credits for flute on here. And then they give special thanks to Steve Levy on oboe. So there's not just 1, but 2 oboe players on here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. Moving on to the vocals, we talked about every song we've picked so far has really good vocals. I think this is, again, another excellent example of good vocals. I will say some of the higher pitched backing vocals in here are a little bit weak. I don't know who's doing those, but the rest of them are very good. You can tell there's a lot of production on them, though. There's kind of, some effects, but I don't mind that at all. And, there's just some really great synth and laser type shimmers later on in the song. Just, really good little drum fill-ins, just all that kind of stuff that I like.
Oh, yeah. Box of Toys has a tremendous bag of tricks.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Nicely done. Yeah. And I went ahead and listened to the re-recorded version of this because I wanted to see what Brian Atherton did on his own as The Light.
Walk along unbroken sign, the inspiration brings.
It's not a lot different from the original, but he did include some slap bass, which I always approve of that.
That probably made it even better.
Yeah, and there's some additional little percussion sounds here and there. So it's just a little more maybe updated for like 1985, 86 time.
I thought it was going to be quite different. I think in the book they mentioned that like he took with him a remix.
Yeah.
And so that's surprising to hear that it's not really that different.
It's not as much different as you might think. So the one other comment I have on this song, or really the single, is the record sleeve. I found a picture of it, and it's actually really cute. The name of the band is Made of Blown Up Balloons. It's like that's the font that they used, or the typeface they created out of balloons, which is kind of cool. And then the back of the sleeve has a single red balloon on it. So it's predating Nina by just a little bit. And it has the song credits written on it. So it's kind of cool. The art is credited to Dave, Pete, and Jacuzzi. I don't know who those guys are, but they did a good job.
That's cool, and that's a really good song. I think people who like the show would like that song.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a good dance song. I think I was dancing to it earlier.
I think you were.
So what do you have for us for your last selection?
All right, so we've talked about the punks. We've talked about the pop chart wannabes. Now we're going to go to those elitist intellectuals.
Okay.
And that means, of course, that we are going to talk about Mr. Thomas Leer.
Aha.
And his entry on this set is a song called Mr. Nobody.
Oh yeah, I can just a big, got nobody can see what this whole thing means to me. I said nobody can see what this whole thing means to me. Nobody can see. Well, I feel that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've been watching Doom Patrol,
Yes.
the TV show, which features a villain called Mr. Nobody. So I'm
Right.
going to picture this as his theme song
It
every time he's
should
on
be.
from now on. Thomas Leer, man, what an interesting career. He is a Scottish musician. He moved to London in the early 1970s to be part of the punk scene, forming the band Pressure. But by 1978, at age 25, he had started listening to synth pop and kind of switched gears. His first song that he released was called Private Plane, which he recorded at his house and then paid to have it pressed to vinyl himself.
Right.
7-inch singles.
Wow.
He made 650 of them.
Aw.
And NME awarded it Single of the Week.
No way. That's impressive.
And ultimately, Cherry Red Records included it on their Business as Usual compilation,
Very cool.
which is kind of neat because this Electrical Language compilation is from Cherry Red Records.
Right.
So,
Yeah, full circle, huh?
yeah. In 1979, Thomas released an album with a fellow named Robert Rental, who was kind of a trendsetter here in the early days of this electronic movement. He did things by himself, but the coolest thing that I saw that he did was in 1980, he would go on to work with The Normal,
Oh, okay.
Daniel Miller. Mm-hmm. Between 1980... Okay, so my notes here kind of fall apart. I didn't finish the sentence. I think it is between 1980 and 1985. He released a few EPs
Okay.
and an album or two, both on Cherry Red Records and Arista. He signs with
okay.
Arista at one point, a
Nice.
big label. And then the thing that made me lose time of my research today is I discovered that he formed a band with Claudia Brucken,
Oh, wow.
who we just discussed on Andrew Dinley's Art on Your Sleeve podcast a month or two ago.
Yeah, she was in propaganda.
She was, but she was also in a band with Thomas in 1987 called ACT.
Oh.
You got yours. I got mine. Just like Calvin Klein. Fantasy, ecstasy, sound of a dream of sanity.
And ACT only released one album, Laughter, Tears, and Rage. But it's awesome. It was on the ZTT label and produced by Trevor Horn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it just has a great 80s sound to it. The songs are super catchy. There's some really great tunes on there.
Oh, wow.
And there were 3 singles released, and unfortunately, like the most successful one of the 3 made it to like number 80 or something, number 60 or something. It was kind of a bomb.
Oh, man.
The original title for the album was Name Dropping, Songs for Young Sinners. It's a cool name because the theme of the album is just like, let's celebrate the decadence and sleaziness of the 1980s.
That is wonderful.
Like there's one song called Snobbery and Decay,
Lovely.
and there's like an extended version by Trevor Horn.
Okay.
That's like super ZTT sounding. And in the beginning of it, you hear Claudia say, "Could you organize a small private jet? I'm flying to Las Vegas in the morning."
Oh, wow. Private plane, maybe.
Yeah. So it's just like, so like Sleazy.
I love it.
The bad thing for me, having listened to it on YouTube and loving it, I went on Amazon to immediately buy it.
Yeah.
And it's going for almost $1,000.
Oh, oh my. Okay, yeah, that's a little out of our price range for one album.
It was re-released years later as a 4 CD set with like really fancy artwork. Andrew said the artwork for it is beautiful, the packaging and things, and that it's very rare. ZTT released it for a while and then deleted it from their catalog, so it's real expensive to get a hold
Oh,
of.
criminal.
Yep.
Ugh.
So that's not good. But after the failure of Act, which is a crying shame because they sound awesome, Leer retired from music.
Really? Wow. He was just like, well, if I can't make any moves with, this awesome music, then forget it.
I'll give you a hint. Stick around because there's a happier ending to the Thomas Leer story.
Okay.
But for now, I want people to be disillusioned and to think that he's done.
Okay. Wow.
And we're going to move on to the song Mr. Nobody,
Okay. Yes.
which is the song on the compilation.
Oh my God. I love this song.
This song is so cool.
Oh, I'm so glad you chose it. And every time I hear it, I just start grooving and I move my neck around and I'm moving my shoulders around and I'm just look like a fool. But I love this song.
Yeah, so this song appears on his 1982 album Contradictions, which I read contained a more fleshed out sound than his earlier records, including horns and guitars. I'm not sure you would pick that up from this song. I don't hear any horns or guitars on this song.
No.
So I don't know if that statement is true. It's just what I read. I was talking with Andrew, like I said, talking with our friend Andrew Dinley, host of Art on Your Sleeve, an awesome art and music podcast, talking with him about Thomas Leer this morning. And Andrew said, he didn't know I was just going to steal this quote that he sent me on Messenger. Andrew said, Leer is someone who is rarely mentioned, but has a big impact and influence. I'm not keen on his very early stuff, but I can see how it was trailblazing.
Okay.
This track is probably too late in his discography to be considered trailblazing, but keep in mind that like his earliest stuff was being recorded simultaneously with Yellow Magic Orchestra and the Human League and those influential synth bands. So he was one of the first people that, were doing this without a roadmap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can see that, he probably did influence a lot of people. Something I found on Discogs just about this era, him recording that album, they said that he actually borrowed a lot of equipment, a guitar, a bass, a synth from other musicians that he was friends with.
Okay.
And he used his 4-track recorder to record 7 and 8 tracks for these songs. And the album is a mixture of soul, funk, electronics, industrial, and new wave. It's fantastic how much soul comes through on the album, considering what he's working with. You can hear a little bit of soul in this song.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So here's the surprise happy ending that I was trying to lead you guys away from, some misdirection. There is a happy ending for Thomas Leer. He retires probably around 1988 after ACT. But I saw a quote from him years later. He said, I'd hung up my synths and moseyed off into the distance. And I probably would have stayed there if I hadn't tuned into Cold Cut's Solid Steel show on KISS FM. One Saturday night, the future sound of London doing 2 hours of musical mayhem. It was fantastic and immediately made me want to start working again.
Nice.
And work again, indeed, he did. 2000s have been a great time for Thomas. He has released brand new material. He has released remastered reissues of old favorites. He has his own label now, Future Historic, and he has a Bandcamp page that you can go check out some of his music. I was listening to it this morning.
Wonderful.
Yep, so Thomas is back. Now, why did I pick this song? I love the music in this song.
Uh-huh.
It reminds me of something that could have been on Travelogue. Listening to it, I'm very surprised that this came out in 82. It sounds earlier than that. By 82, we should have more recent sounding synths on a record, I would think. This sounds out of place in terms of time to me. But it was the vocal for this song that grabbed me.
Yes.
The way he sings, he probably would not like me to say this, I would imagine, but I was reminded of Falco.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great.
And to me, that's awesome because I love me some Falco.
Yeah, that's high praise from you.
It is. I love the rapid singing. I love the vocal sounds in the background, all the grunts and the uhs. And the occasional harmonies. But it's really those interesting background noises that run throughout the entire song.
Yes.
He's almost always doing something in the background that's just, well, how did he even think of that?
Yeah.
And it really appealed to me. I think it is fantastic.
I love this song too. As we listened to it for the first time out on our deck and I heard it and I thought, wow, this song is so cool. I would love to hear Robert Palmer sing this song. I think he has another, I don't know why, but like this sounds like a song that he could sing. And I would love to hear it kind of more fleshed out with some of those horns and maybe more up-to-date synths. I think that this song, if they redid this song in like 1986, it could have been amazingly popular. It just has that kind of funky, a really great vibe to it. And I mean, I love it as it is, but I would love to hear a more fleshed out, maybe more updated version of it. it's just too cool.
When you mentioned the Robert Palmer thing, that you
Yeah.
wanted to hear Robert Palmer do
Yeah.
it, I was just like, okay. I didn't understand why. But like when you go back, I watched some of his videos, and he is like short hair, very nicely coiffed, wearing very nice clothes,
Okay.
impeccably dressed. Which is very much the same image as Robert Palmer.
Yeah, that's true.
So I did see a connection there.
Okay. I don't know. It's just the kind of soulful delivery that he's giving in this song. And that's where I think you're getting the soul from, is his vocals. I could just see Robert Palmer doing it. I don't know why.
Robert Palmer gets some soul out of his voice when he wants to.
Yeah.
So lyrically, the song kind of falters lyrically for me. I'm unable to focus on the lyrics. I don't know what the song is about. I've heard it. I seriously have heard it about 15 times now. I don't know what it's about. I can't really remember any of the lyrics after listening to it because it's so rapid fire.
Yeah.
I'm moving, I shake. I shake and I move.
Yeah.
That's all I remember because it's so boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
hitting you with these lines
Right.
that, and none of them are like exceptionally well-written lines.
No.
They just serve a purpose. And because of that, I think that it lyrically doesn't stick with you, but it's the vocal performance and the awesome production of the background stuff and the cool old-fashioned synths that
Yeah.
are going to connect with you.
Yeah. And I do remember one lyric from it, which is nothing in particular. And that's probably what the song is about.
Nice. So if you like early Human League, 70s Kraftwerk, and maybe Fad Gadget, check out Mr. Nobody. I think you'll like it.
Oh, yeah. Super, super fun.
So that is a quick look at some of our recommendations of songs from the Cherry Red compilation of Electrical Language Independent British Synth Pop 78 to 84.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful little look back in time at some great music from an exciting period of time, really, for music.
Very much so. And they have a new compilation that came out just last Friday, I think.
Oh, wow.
It's called like Music, but it's spelled all different ways. Musique. And it's the same stable of bands, but
Okay.
it focuses purely on the year 1980.
Oh, wow.
So I have that ordered. It didn't ship yet, but hopefully that'll be as good as this one because I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, this is really fun. Good purchase. Really good buy. Good buy for the money.
Oh, yeah. I think it was only like $30, $35 maybe.
Yeah.
Speaking of good purchase and a good buy, don't forget that you have a chance to buy a collection of great CDs for no money.
That's right.
We are giving away some CDs from our friends Rob and Vaughn from BHXRR, and we gave details on the last episode, and there's details on our Twitter and our Facebook on how you can win some great music.
That's right.
So we're going to do that drawing on August 13th.
Make sure you are entered to win.
We just need you to share the link of our interview with BHXRR. Got to get the word, spread the word about this great band,
Yep.
and be sure that you tag us in your post so we know that you did it.
And that's all it takes from you. Not a whole lot of work to get some really awesome music.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Let us know what you think about these songs. If you check them out and love them, let us know,
Yes.
because we'll be happy to hear that. We think they're pretty much the bee's knees. You can always share your opinions on our social media pages.
That's right. And you can always leave us a voicemail as well.
Yeah, you can do that at 724-490-8324 here in the United States. You can also send us voicemails through our SpeakPipe page.
Speakpipe.com/firmrecordpod. Okay, so we'll be back with you again in a week or two with the other half of our Now That's What I Call Music discussion with Jackie Clary. Looking forward to that one.
I'm hoping I can just talk about KC again. I'm still really into the KC song.
And continue naming songs with the choruses in the beginning.
Yeah, I've thought of a couple since then.
Yeah, well, very good.
So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you in a week.
Take care.
Be ready.